But with these graphs, once you've done them, you got it for 8 years. And you do this, if you do 2 of them, you got it for another 8 years after that, and it really becomes something you can always refer to when you're set up for advising someone anytime. So we're going to start looking at Pluto. In 2015, Pluto squared the moon, 16 squared the moon 3 times, 17 squared the moon. Her moon's in the 3rd house. Pluto was had gone before that, had gone over the ascendant some years before, but here it's squaring the moon. And this was the whole time she built everything up, but she didn't want it. It got blocked. She felt the lifestyle was restricting her. And she let go of her empire and her big blog and network of people following her and all of that to get a new lifestyle. And as the last hit of this came in, in this 2017, she came in, she started to come through the astrology classes and started to work through all. As soon as she had, it doesn't mean there weren't challenges, because she did, even during this period, she did have to try, she did travel to several countries to try and meet her dad, try and meet different things, solve different things. And these were challenging issues, but she realized that she dealt with the block for 3 years of Pluto to the moon, and it's changing. So, but even there, through 2018 and 19, she's still been traveling and moving a lot. The moon in Aries conjunct Jupiter. She's been in different countries, different places, and is not looking to being anchored at any time in the near future. I think she's more likely, I think she's thinking of just, well, I'm going to keep a traveling life and be in different places, stay for a while, do some talks on astrology, do some things, and then move on. I think that's part of her game plan. But there's no more Pluto hassles coming from this. Pluto to the moon is one of the most difficult aspects. There's not sympathy there. There's confrontational issues. What am I going to do? How am I going to, who am I? Where am I? So certainly with Pluto on the moon, squaring the moon, Saturn's in the 1st house. She's feeling a little bit older, but her Aries moon, I'm not older. Virgo will never be older. I'm not going to be old. I'm young all my life. But what's next? The Saturn, you can see the puzzle here. So there's no more Pluto, fortunately, not Pluto things coming up. We look at Neptune and we see 2015, Neptune squaring the Mars and opposing the Venus. And 2014, it goes back to do that too. So they were very confusing years around relationships. Probably a confusing dependent relationship with a confrontation coming around it, having to be on one's own, stand up to it, and move on. So these were, even with work, same thing. Wasn't doing what you want to do, caught in things, and it changed. So the confusion was really at its worst 2015. Those are confronting, confusing years. Then there's no more Uranus and Neptune problems until 21 and 22, when Neptune comes and opposes her Mercury. So at that point, her Mercury is her strong point, her practical, clear mind. It's not that she doesn't see what she's doing. She just, when she wants something, there's always conditions and Neptune factors around it. And she pushes at Mars. So there's puzzles around relationships. So the Mercury comes up, Neptune comes up, it causes confusion around ideas. There can be, the planning system gets confused. That's a very strong challenge for her, because she's normally very clear. So she just finished all the classes. She's ready to go, but she may not want to, like, this is more visual. Maybe she puts a movie together, but she's not really thinking that clearly at that time. The planning system and the analysis are going to be more gullible. That could be because someone's with her. Or it could be because someone's not, and just thinking about, what do I have to do? What am I doing? But there's a puzzle. And that can affect a lot of confusion on business deals, anything else. It's a confusing time. So it's not, things don't look clear like that. So if she's got a business she doesn't want, she's on the web and thousands of people are calling her, she could be caught in the same thing. And so there's a part of her may not want to be going that direction. Even though she's got her strong mind, there's a part of her may not want to be using it more than she has to. Or sometimes this could be just be consistently traveling and never staying in one place. And just drifting, the Mercury's drifting. But really in this time, her Saturn's down in this quadrant, she's supposed to be studying and learning, and she may be spacing out a little bit more there. Or she could get in something to be a little too fanatically in one thing more than another. Like, we don't know what Neptune is. We can see that it's coming. It's a puzzle. So our alertness goes up. We see the Saturn going down, we know the progressed sun's going up, and we see this puzzle's coming in. She's not going to have it figured out that soon. Or she may think she has. It's still below the horizon, Saturn, and Neptune's going along. It's going to come back and cause some confusion. So that will change her plans. And she may not be thinking for herself as much as she should be or could be. Or could be with someone that's draining resources or challenging her resources. But she's the person that needs relevance to other people. If she's not around other people that are meaningful, that could cause confusion in itself. So either which way, it's Neptune. There's a puzzle there around how she's thinking, around thinking about issues of trust. 8th house, business and trust, relationships and trust, and the confusion's coming in from there. Somebody thinking she should do something that she shouldn't, or her avoiding, not wanting to do this or lying. I'm not sure. So now we look at the Uranus, and Uranus in 2015 conjuncted the moon. So just as Neptune and Venus were being squared by Neptune, as Mars and Venus were squared by Neptune, Pluto was conjunct the moon. The old world just came up to confusing, and the Uranus moon. What's Uranus going to move? Her moon's in Aries conjunct Jupiter in the 3rd house. I'm out of here. I'm moving. She would change. She changed her whole lifestyle. It changed. 2015. I don't know her then. I met her after that. And she broke away from all the past and all the things and had a struggle trying to find out how to live newly or what's new. Okay, so by the time she started classes, I was studying something new, but at that point, Uranus was opposed to midheaven 2018. So it's changing where she's living, making it insecure and volatile or changeable, but it's certainly changing career and disrupting career. So the changing of work, scrambling at this, scrambling at that. She was here, then she tried to go, then she went to Europe, and then she went to Asia, I believe. She's been in different places trying to work, and then none of them stayed for longer than a few months. That was Uranus, so that's been going on right to now. So then I saw her recently. So then that's the final bit of craziness. Not here, not there. So she's trying to get, I should go here, I should go there. I think in this time she went back and saw her dad for some time and didn't fit into that world and stuff. So like she's broken ties again. Now the old things are broken away and she's ready to, Uranus is moving forward in the 4th house, but it's not hitting anything, but it's just not on the angles anymore. She's made the big shocking change. She broke with dad, broke with the old authority, and is starting new. Just as she's starting new, she's finishing the astrology. She's through this whole time period of Uranus, but she's still held together through her astrology classes. We stayed in the webinar, held through. So this is then it's opening up. There's not big shocks or changes coming up. So there's kind of not this. 2020 is not too bad. There are no big, huge crises coming in, and just some puzzles coming in the next couple of years. This affecting the way she's thinking or planning. So, so we look at Saturn. This is just working the sheet, but as you work it, you're going over and over these time frames, and you're seeing how they lock into each other. So just as she had the Neptune hitting Mars and Venus, and Pluto hitting the moon, and Uranus conjuncting her moon, Saturn was squaring her sun and squaring her Venus. She was not happy and opposing her Mars, but she was having to take responsibility for her T-square just at the time the T-square was just being messed up completely. Neptune was hitting the T-square, Saturn was they were hitting each other, and this was the puzzle, and that was that 2015 was like a year to be forgotten. It was an extreme year. But then it lifted, it changed. So 2016, she was just dealing with the Pluto to the moon, changing, not going back. Might have been power struggle with family, with back, whatever. But then Saturn squared her Mercury in 2017. So that's Saturn to Mercury. It restricts, it causes a bit of depression, a bit of worry or depression, but it forces a working on rethinking or you're rethinking things. So like that rethinking things, I'm not good enough. I should know better. How come I didn't deal with that? And in this process was part of the process. And with Saturn below the horizon, it was part of her process to just be. No, 2017 Saturn wasn't below the horizon. It was squaring her Mercury from Sag. but she was still feeling a restriction from the Saturn on the Mercury, and made decisions to be more responsible, to take the course and go at it. And just as she did that, she knew the old world was falling. She was a practical mind. She knew the old stuff was coming in. Can't rely on it. It's coming up to the ascendant. What am I going to do next? So one of the things she did through this whole period, with changing careers, trying to cut touch with dad, mom's, she not with mom, she tried to get back in touch with that. That didn't work. I don't know the whole story, but she's eventually brought her through the Saturn on the ascendant while she was going through the webinars, but still struggling with where she fit in the world, working on this new identity, not the old. That's the most powerful. This is the identity complex. It's usually considered the pit of despondency. You're sitting there, everything's inert, nothing's changing fast enough, or I don't fit in, the past is dying, I don't know where to go forward. But you usually work at it because you can't waste time. You're just trying to work at it anyways if something comes out of this. So then 2019, Saturn squared the moon. I believe she went back to see dad or family and it didn't fit in. And then that was back and forth and a few different things. And she came back by September, because I saw her just the beginning of October. But she wasn't staying in town. She was off and moving again. So she was not, the Saturn moon was going on with family, but she was not sitting in it trying to get more depressed. She was trying to move away from it and be away from it and do things away from it. But it still was delaying how much she could do. She's getting older. Her Saturn Aries moon. Let me out of here. What am I going to do? Where am I going? She's trying to make decisions where to live, but it wasn't sure during this whole time period. Where to live, what to work at, what to do. She's the single person that's at her midlife point that's not been in a relationship. What's next? So there's things that are imponderable forces to measure here. Then 2020, Saturn squares the midheaven. So she should be working to she's going to try and work to use her astrology in some way during this period. It's still in a sense, it's not a huge, big empire. It's just working at it and working at some things, being a bit more responsible, or limiting how much there's a limit to how much one can do. Saturn's below your horizon. You're not going to get seniority or bigger buildup. So it's just efforts to do it. It could be changing jobs, it could be working different places, but that pressure lives. She works, so she could be working hard through 2020, but by 2021, her mind starts drifting and she doesn't want to do this anymore. She's not thinking like that anymore. Or someone comes in and she's going on another adventure. But the Saturn lives. All the other planets live. Just the Neptune fantasies and Neptune dreams come up, someone starts affecting the way she's thinking. And if they're nice to her, then she'll buy into it. But there could be a lot of confusing decisions made there. So I think she may work for you. She may want to travel for a few years and not set things up. Her energy is not building. Her inner spirit wants to know she has to set things up, but her energy is not wanting to set things up, not being wanting to be smothered that much. I want to get my personal life together. So this is the 8-year graph. So okay, it's a good idea. Like I said, her chart, when it comes to not knowing who's a relationship, when it comes to relationships, that's very confusing and haunted. Very poor timing and confused. Hard to know who's reliable, what's steady, who's real, who's not. It's hard to be real or be either way. But the same chart, if she got into her imagination, into her spirituality, into chanting, into meditation, into yoga or anything like this, it would start working on the higher aspects of this T-square. I would start picking her up. And I think that's her destiny to go there. It's a question, how does she go kicking or screaming, or when will she eventually get there? At some point, that's going to be the most practical thing, to stay healthy, be alive, have people coming in your life, and you're responding people for good things. She's not ready for that yet. Okay. So then when we do the 2-year graph, this is 1 year back, this is done starting from September.